What is the purpose of gauge R&R study? One of you. What is the purpose of gauge R&R study?
Determine variation from measurement system.
Yeah. You want to get an estimate of the measurement error. You want to get an estimate of the measurement error, even before collecting the data. Am I right? Even before going for the full-fledged data collection, you wanted to get an estimate of the error. And how much is the maximum permissible error? What is the maximum? 10%.
10%.
This is what you are measuring using a tool called gauge R&R. When I say gauge R&R, it takes into account the measurement variation or the variation due to measurement and will compare that variation against the total variation.
Yes, sir.
Against the total variation or sometimes against the customer provided tolerance. What is customer provided tolerance? The difference between upper spec and lower spec.
Lower spec.
With respect to the upper spec and lower spec, no, the range you need to calculate. And the 10% of that range you can accommodate as error. This is the error you try to avoid. But according to AIAG, the Automotive Industry Action Group, the permissible error is 10%. Right? And this particular error we account in gauge R&R study is precision error. What do we account? Precision error.
Precision error.
What is precision error? Sum of repeatability error and reproducibility error. If you use the same, if the same appraiser is repeating the same experiment and still there is some difference in the reading, this is called repeatability error. I am not able to repeat the experiment. Every condition is same, but still I get different readings. Now the error is repeatability error. So whenever repeated, whenever the experiments are replicated, the repeatability error will come into picture. Whenever you have multiple appraisers involved, there is a chance for disagreement. Am I correct? You have 10 appraisers, 10 data collectors, all of them collecting the same data, but still they can disagree between each other. Possible or not?
Possible.
So if multiple appraisers disagree each other, then the error committed is called as reproducibility error. You should be able to get an estimate of repeatability error and reproducibility error, and then you should be able to combine them. Once you combine them, this is called precision error. This precision error must be compared against the tolerance. So numerator is precision, denominator is tolerance. And this ratio should be less than 10%. You multiply by 100, you get in terms of percentage. If it is less than 10%, your measurement system is considered good, considered acceptable, considered capable. If the measurement error is more than 10% or 10 to 30%, conditionally acceptable. But if the measurement error is more than 30%, it is unacceptable. Clear, everyone? When the gauge R&R is more than 30%, it is unacceptable. So that's the purpose of gauge R&R study. You get an estimate of the error that may accumulate in your reading if you use a particular measurement system for collecting data about your CTQ, right? Can one of you tell me what is a measurement system? What is a measurement system? Is it the equipment is called measurement system?
No, sir. It includes whole system, sir.
Whole system. What are the elements then?
Elements, so the equipments, instruments, appraiser, method of measuring that one.
Wow, beautiful. Measuring instrument, the appraiser, the part you are measuring,
Method.
the instruction you are giving, the environmental conditions, everything is part of your measurement system. That is why the chance for no error to happen is very high because there are so many elements. So anything can be a reason, right? You can't completely eliminate measurement error. All of you, first of all, should recognize it is impossible for you to eliminate error. There will be some error always, right? So that is why the 10% margin is given, right? And 10 to 30% conditionally acceptable, but more than 30% never acceptable. Now your measurement system is good. You can collect data, and now you collected the data, and now you are proceeding to measure the baseline. And in order to measure the baseline, you can use different tools. Yield was taught to you, DPMO was taught to you, and today CPCPK was taught to you. Tell me, when will you use CPCPK, or when will you go for CPCPK study or capability study? Because DPMO is also there, right? You can use DPMO also. You can use CPCPK also. When will you go for DPMO? When will you go for CPCPK? You go for DPMO if your data type is discrete. Your data type is discrete, right? Whether if you are counting the defects, you go for DPMO. If you are counting the defectives, you go for PPM. Right? If your data type is continuous, you go for CPCPK study. All of you are with me?
Okay, sir.
If your data type is continuous, you go for CPCPK study. You all know what is a continuous data. Can one of you tell me what is a continuous data? When will you consider your data as continuous?
It is having infinite value, sir. The continuous means it will take any
Number form.
the number form that is into decimal, like that is measuring dimensional what we are doing for continuous.
Okay. So it is called continuous if it is measurable.
Measurable.
Countable informations are called discrete data. Measurable informations are called continuous data. For all continuous data, there will be a specific unit of measurement. If you can see a specific unit of measurement, then it should be continuous data. For example, temperature. What will be the unit of measurement?
Fahrenheit centigrade.
Fahrenheit centigrade. You want to measure the weight of a product. The unit is grams, kilograms, milligrams. Whenever you see a unit of measurement, it simply means your data type is continuous. And within any permissible range, infinite number of possibilities are there. For example, I am producing a product which can have a weight between 10 gram and 12 gram. But between 10 gram and 12 gram, how many possible values are there?
10, 11, 12.
Infinite. 10,
11,
2, 3, 4.
Infinite number of values. are
Infinite.
there. 10.1 is there, 10.15 is there, 10.152 is there. I can't stop. That is why such data are called continuous data. It keeps on, continuously coming, continuously populating. But the advantage with the continuous data is you will be able to, understand the maximum information about, what is happening in your process. If somebody say my product is, having a overweight, to what extent it is having a overweight, I can precisely find out. 10 gram is the requirement, but 11.5 gram is the weight. Now, how much is the overweight? 1.5 gram.
1.5.
But if you are simply checking whether the product is as per the weight or out of weight, and somebody will be checking if it is 10 gram, it is accepted. If it is more than 10 gram, it is rejected. And now I don't mind, I don't want to actually capture the value, capture the weight, but I only wanted to check whether the product is acceptable or not. The product, if it is 10 gram, I accept it, or any value less than 10 gram, I accept it. If it is more than 10 gram, I immediately reject it. Right? Now end of the day, I come to know how many units are rejected. And my data will be saying there are about 200 units got rejected. But if I ask another question, no, you said 200 units got rejected, but why? What is the reason for rejection? Reason for rejection is weight is not
Overweight.
proper. But how much not proper? That I have not recorded. Do you understand?
Sir.
So I am only checking whether my product is okay or not okay. But if somebody is asking me why it is not okay, to what extent it has become, it has went wrong. If you wanted to answer these kind of questions, then you must always prefer to measure the data, collect the data in continuous fashion. All of you understand the advantage of continuous data? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Sir, yes.
Yes. So if you collect the data in terms of continuous manner, you can go for CP-CPK study and so on. So that's about data type. And now there are two matrices, right? CP and CPK. What is the requirement for CP-CPK? How much is the minimum value required to consider your process as capable?
0.67.
1.67.
1.67.
1.67 is required for CPK or required for CP, or is it
CP.
required for both?
CP 1.66.
CP 1.66. CPK should also be 1.66.
Yes.
Both should be 1.66 or 67 and above. One is enough. See, one means process is capable. One means your parking area and car are same size. One means parking area and car are same size. It looks you can take the car inside, but you have to take extreme care. So that is the problem with making your process capable. When your process is just capable, your CP-CPK will be equal to 1. The CP-CPK will be equal to 1. So that is why we need some extra capability. Sometimes companies require 1.33. Sometimes they require 1.67. Particularly if the process is critical, the requirement will be 1.67. If it is less critical, the requirement is 1.33. Am I correct? All of you understand? So what kind of process you consider as critical and what kind of process you consider as less critical? Can you give me an example, one of you? What kind of process?
Tolerance and specification and control limits are same means it is a critical.
No. Let us say surface finish or the painting finish of the car outer body. That is definitely critical, isn't it? Customer will expect super finish. You are buying
Yes,
a
sir.
car, but the same painting under the chassis. Will you expect the same finish?
No, sir. No. Sir.
So sometimes the tolerance level will be higher, right? Even if something slightly deviates, but still it is acceptable. In such cases, you can understand the process is less critical. But certain areas, the process is really critical to your customer. So for critical processes, you must aim for 1.67. Aim for
Yes, sir.
1.67, right? Like same example, your monthly expense is 40,000 rupees. Your salary also 40,000 rupees. Now, what is your CP-CPK now? You're getting
Sir?
40,000. You're getting
Yeah.
40,000, and your wife is spending 40,000 every month. Now, what is
Okay.
your capability? You are just capable, right?
One.
Below CP.
You're just
One.
capable. 40,000 you are earning. 40,000 you are earning, and your wife is spending all 40,000 rupees.
Yes.
You are just capable. Your CP-CPK will be equal to 1. That is the reason why you always look for earning money, different ways of so that your wife can spend it happily. So we need little more higher capability. 1 is not sufficient. We need 1.33 sometimes. Sometimes we need 1.67. For example, for all the spending in hotels and other areas, you might consider those areas as critical. It will keep you a lot more money there. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
It depends on your policy. Some people allot more money on education, more money on health. Some people allot more money on entertainment, and so you are always categorizing, your priorities into less critical and high critical. Similarly, your business process also, you should be able to categorize. Is it critical or is it less critical? Less critical means try to achieve at least 1.33. More critical means try to achieve at least 1.67. All of you understand? Right? Your customer will tell you which is critical and which is not critical, right?
Yes, sir.
Another thing. Now, why do we require two matrices, CP as well as CPK? Why not be happy with just one? Any answer? Anybody can answer this?
Process is towards the center or bias. To find out that one,
Process should be towards center. Very good.
towards center or bias.
What is
Maybe
bias?
that is center line is shifted to one direction, left or right.
That is what, you are checking whether the process is properly centered or not. If it is shifted, the center is shifted, then, that can become a reason for failure.
Yes,
See,
sir.
all of you understand. We all know process means it's a bell curve, right? Particularly
Hmm.
continuous data, it will be a bell curve.
Yes, sir.
That too, if you understand central limit theorem, I have taught you on last Wednesday. Understand central limit theorem. Every time you collect continuous data, yes, you will see the bell curve, right? And now in the bell curve, if the bell curve becomes wider, 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 and wider, what will happen? It can become wider to the extent that, it can go beyond specification limit.
Yes.
If it goes beyond specification limit, customer will start rejecting your product. Hey, don't supply anymore. I don't want to buy from you. Or otherwise, you take back all this because all these items are out of spec. Certain percentage of the products will definitely be out of spec if you allow the bell curve to have more spread. Am I right? A bell curve has two characteristics. One is central tendency, another one is the spread. Yes or no?
Yes,
If
sir.
spread is more, problems will be more, rejections will be more. So, in order to understand how much is the spread, you measure standard deviation, you calculate standard deviation. I mean, you calculate variation. Another way problem can happen is your entire process can move to the right or can move to the left.
Yes, sir.
Process variation too much means your car is bigger. You can't park the car. Process variation high means you can't park the car. But process shifted means you are parking your car in your neighbor's house. Now your neighbor will definitely take care of your car.
Perfect.
If every day you go and park your car in your neighbor's house, and they will definitely see to that your car is damaged. Isn't it? So in both ways, there will be a possibility of damage. One is car is bigger. Another thing is you wrongly parked the car. Similarly, your process, if the spread is more, rejections will be more. Another way rejection can increase is the process can be off-centered. Process can be off-centered. The process should be properly centered. Properly centered means you will see your curve symmetrical. Otherwise, what happened? You will see your curve symmetrical, and moreover, the entire process, the process center will be on the required target. Process center will be on the required target. Otherwise, what will happen? The target will be here, but my process will be operating somewhere here. It is like, parking my car. in my
Tell you,
neighbor.
madam, please.
So that is why you need to monitor two things. Whether the spread is increasing or decreasing. How do you know? CP will tell you. All of you, do you understand? If you look at the CP, you get a clear picture of the size of your car.
For outer one, true condition.
The size of the car is understood.
No.
But if you look at the CPK, you understand two things. The size of the car also you get an idea. Your driving skill also you get an idea. That is the advantage with CPK. If your driving skill is proper, you will always park your car in your house. If you are a poor driver, you might park in your neighbor's house. All of you understand why we require two matrices? So CPK, in addition to looking at the variation, it will also
once again.
look at, it will
Sai
also look at,
Srinath. Sai Srinath, do you have any question?
Yes, yes. That's,
Please.
not no.
Okay.
This is
Otherwise,
safe.
good, sir.
Yeah, okay.
okay. So CPK will monitor both variation as well as center of the process, right? Okay, now I have one more question. If CPK can monitor both, then why should we calculate CP? So CPK, let us say CPK is 1.67, but CP is much better. Let us say CP is 2.2. How much is your CPK? 1.67. Now, what do you infer out of this situation? What is your understanding now?
Process is well within the limits.
Process is
And also
within
it
the
is
limits.
center. Yes.
Process is capable. Definitely, you can say process is
100%.
capable. Capable means, no rejections.
Yes.
Very, very few rejections only, chances there, but majority will be accepted. But for the same process, your CP is much better than CPK. What is this telling you? It is telling you that further improvement is definitely possible. You can improve the process till CPK approaches CP. All of you, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
There is a clear chance, for you to improve the process further. How do I say this? Because I see a clear difference between CP and CPK. Clear? If the process is off-centered, if a person is parking his car, somewhere else, then you can definitely, teach him some driving skill so that, he can further improve his driving skill. If the driving skill is further improved, what will happen? Your CPK will improve. As the CPK further improves, it will start approaching CP. So if CP and CPK are close to each other, your process is operating to the best of its potential. All of you understand? If CP is equal to CPK, your process is operating to the best of its potential. If CP and CPK are different, you can immediately understand something went wrong in between. So some further improvement is definitely possible, right? Only if something goes wrong, right? The CP and CPK can be different. All right. So now CP is calculated only based on variation. CPK is calculated considering both variation as well as process center. All of you are with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now you look at your formula of CP. That will only have sigma. That will only have sigma. Sigma is process variation. Now look at the formula of CPK. In addition to having sigma, is it having X bar also?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's why I told you. So CPK monitors, both this variation as well as process center. That is why CPK is a realistic measure of capability or a better measure of capability. Hereafter, when you want to comment about capability, look at CPK, not CP. Look at CPK and not CP. But if you want to know about the consistency, you can look at CP. All of you, do you understand now? If you want to understand the capability, which metric you should look at? CPK.
CPK.
But if you want to understand the consistency, you should look at CP. Right? So now then tell me, what's the difference between consistency and capability? What is consistency?
Related
Your
to
ability-
precision.
Repeat.
Yes,
constant variance.
positive variance. Still better, maybe better. Can you express it a little more, in a very easy to understand manner? Consistent means you are able to produce, the same results. You are able to produce the same results.
Same.
Repeatedly same. But I do not know whether you are repeatedly good or repeatedly bad. That's different. But you have consistency. Do you understand? You are writing exam 10 times and all 10 times you are failing. You are consistent. But you are consistently failing. Isn't it? But if you pass all 10 times, you are not only consistent, you are also capable. Clear? So CPK talks about capability, but CP only talks about consistency. So you have to use these tools very carefully. What do you want to understand? Do you want to understand the consistency? Then look at the CP. But you want to understand the capability, you must look at CPK, right? If both are close to each other, then the process is at its best. The process is performing to the best of its potential. That is what you can understand, right? CP equal to CPK. So this is how the baseline is helping you. And now you are very clear about conducting the capability study. And one more hint I want to give it to all the black belts here is, when you are conducting the capability, before conducting the capability study, make sure your process is delivering results consistently. Delivering results consistently.
Consistent.
This is called a statistical control. If statistical control is ensured, it makes sense to conduct a capability study. If statistical control is not ensured, but you still conduct the capability study, sometimes it will lead to a meaningless study. All of you, do you agree with my statement?
Yes, sir.
All of you are going through the training program, you are having good interaction, you are going through the materials, you are giving your best. You are in complete control in the program. Now it makes sense to conduct an examination for you. Am I correct? You are not attending the class, you're not interacting, you're not going through the material, you're missing everything, but still I'm conducting an examination for you. Sometimes it will be completely meaningless. Even if you pass, it doesn't mean, you learn from the program. Even if you fail, it doesn't mean, you have not learned anything from the program. So my study will become meaningless if my process is not in statistical control. So it is always a good idea to conduct a capability study for the process which is under statistical control. How do you know whether your process is under statistical control or not? You have to use the control chart. When you are in doubt, that's the time we use control chart, isn't it? If we get all the points getting plotted inside the control limit, process is under statistical control. If the process is under statistical control, then definitely we can conduct a capability study. Now the measure part is clear, is over now. Now you know your ground reality, your baseline, crystal clear, your baseline performance you have understood. You have set the target in the define phase. In the define phase, goal statement, you can go there and see the target. Now target is available, baseline is available. Will you be able to understand the difference in performance or the gap in performance? Yes? You have the gap in performance. Why there is a gap in performance? What is the root cause of the problem? With that question in mind, you are moving to analyze phase. You are moving to analyze phase. In the analyze phase, you have studied many tools. Yes?
Sir, PPPPK.
PPPPK, we'll be discussing. Wait for it. And on day 5.
Okay.
Right? Day 5. Wait
Thank
for
you,
it.
sir.
We will be discussing, right? I don't want to discuss everything together and then, you may get confused. Already CP, CPK, there are two things. Right? I'm trying to draw the boundary between CP and CPK. Similarly, on day 5, I'll draw the boundary between CP, CPK and PPPPK. Then you get a clear idea. Right? Anyway, that's a good question. Right. Then moving to analyze phase. We want to understand the reason or the root cause for the gap in performance. For that purpose only, you studied various tools, brainstorming, Y-way analysis, then fishbone analysis or cause and effect analysis. Have you also discussed about impact control matrix? Please
Yes,
confirm.
sir. Yes.
Up to this, you might have discussed. And after that, I'm going to teach hypothesis testing. Now, please, one of you tell me, what is the purpose of all these tools? Brainstorming, Y-way analysis, cause and effect analysis. What is the purpose?
To identify the root cause. Potential root cause.
I agree. Very good. Identify the root cause. Any other answer?
To
Identify the root cause.
First root causes, what are all probable reasons? Then we have to go for potential root cause.
Potential root causes.
Okay. Now that slowly you are coming, right? Now root cause is a term. When I say potential root cause, what does it mean? Is there a difference between a root cause and a potential root cause?
Yes, sir.
What is the difference?
After validation only, we can come to the
Very good.
potential root cause.
Suspect is different and criminal is different,
Yes.
right? And potential root cause is suspect and case is pending. But criminal means, yes, a decision is taken. He is the criminal and he should be punished. Similarly, root cause, yes, it is validated. It is everything, you have a confirmation that a factor is the root cause. Potential root cause means, doubt is more. Doubt is more. Your suspect is more. Experts are confirming that, this could be the root cause. Process owner is also confirming that this could be the root cause. Everybody is suspecting on a factor. Now such factors are called potential root cause. Clear?
Yes.
In order to figure out the potential root cause, you need the possible root causes. Am I right? You need
Yes, sir.
possible root causes.
Yes.
So again, there is a difference between potential root cause and possible root cause. What is possible root cause? How my results, the various ways by which my results can get affected. My response variable can get affected. All the possible X factors which can affect my Y factor are called possible factors. So now we have, different terminologies: possible factor, potential factor, and then critical factor. Critical means root cause. So what is the stage to, what is our, approach towards root cause? First, we find out possible causes. Then we find out potential
Yes,
causes.
sir.
Then we figure out root causes. out of the
Critical
potential
factors.
cause. This is how the police department also, they resolve the cases, isn't it? A crime has happened, and they immediately go to the spot, and with available information, they list all possible factors. Let us say in the place where the crime is happened, there were 50 people seen on the spot. Now to the police department eye, everyone is a culprit, isn't it? There are 50 people on the spot. They will think that, definitely one out of the 50 or few out of the 50 will be the criminals there. Now, all the 50, if you make it a list, all the 50 are called possible factors or possible criminals. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Definitely the criminal is inside the list. This is what you are also developing with the help of cause and effect diagram, or with the help of fishbone analysis, or with the help of Boyer analysis, with the help of brainstorming, or with the help of integrating all the three. Isn't it? You do brainstorming, you intervene them with some questions in between, preferably why, and then you finally you try to make them talk to the point, right? Talk relevant to the problem you are discussing. You don't want to see them explaining about the symptoms, but you wanted to see them explaining about the causes. For that purpose, you are using the tool in the required manner. So your brainstorming, why analysis, cause and effect analysis will help you to list possible X factors. X1, X2, X3, X4. There are 25 factors. There are 25 factors, affecting your result, because your process is so complex. You are not getting the desired hardness in your material. You are not getting the desired hardness in your material. You know why? Because the heat treatment chamber temperature is a possible factor. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And the environment under which it is a nitrogen environment, and you are conducting the heat treatment, and the environment can also influence the hardness of your
Yes.
material. The duration for which you conduct the heat treatment, that can also be a possible factor.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you have 25 possible factor. People have spoke about all the possible factor. Now you are seeing everything, on your whiteboard. This is the result of brainstorming. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
All the stakeholders, relevant people are invited. Don't call irrelevant people. Relevant people means the stakeholder. People who are interested in solving the problem. People who are interested in your result. People who are connected with the process. He may be a raw material supplier. If if the raw material supplier, if you think his input is very important, you must call him for the brainstorming session. Now, list of possible causes you have. Similarly, police department, they have found 50 people. Do you think they will investigate with all 50 people and waste all their time? They have hundreds of cases, isn't it? So they generally don't want to investigate all 50 people. They will try to segregate. From the 50, they reduce to 10 or 12. From the 50, they reduce to 10 or 12. And these 10 or 12 will be investigated, specially, isn't it? They take them to police station. You know how they will conduct the investigation there and how they will conduct the investigation outside. Will there be a difference? What will be the difference in the approach? So they just, they just don't, continue the investigation with the dialogues. They will go definitely beyond that. Same manner, you should also change your approach after this particular stage, right? So far you have been, opinion driven. Am I correct? So far you have been opinion driven, but now onwards, you should be data driven. Clear? So, possible factors, then after possible factors, 10 or 12 or 15 out of the possible factors are qualified for next level of investigation. And the next level of investigation, the main difference is we are going to be fact driven or otherwise data driven. That means we will take decision only based on experimental outcome. No more opinions are allowed. All of you understand?
Yes, sir.
No
Yes, sir.
more opinions are allowed. Only experimental. Experimentally, we will study. If the experiment is confirming, then only your opinion will be taken into account. Otherwise, your opinion will be ignored. No matter whether you are a big expert or the process owner or whoever you are. So far is okay. I needed your input, but hereafter I have to fix the problem. So I will I will proceed and validate your statement. Validate your opinion. You might tell, sir, this, what do you call, the heat treatment chamber temperature is the culprit. That is the opinion. But I conduct an experiment. I conduct the heat treatment with 3 different temperature. And realize changing the temperature is significantly changing the hardness of the material. You understand what I did? Earlier, you as an expert, you told me, yes, the culprit is the chamber temperature. You are not properly monitoring, you are not properly controlling the chamber temperature, but chamber temperature is the culprit. So now I wanted to make some modification in my process. I wanted to change the chamber temperature to the proper value. So for that purpose, I conduct some experiment. Different chamber temperature, different outputs came. The heat treatment is done. Now I measure the heat treatment, the hardness. I could see a clear, significant difference in the hardness of the material. As I keep on increasing, the chamber temperature, probably it might lead to increase or decrease in the hardness of the material.
Yes.
Now the statement you told and the conclusion I can make using an experimental study are same. Now your recommendation is accepted. Am I correct? This is how all of you
Yes,
take
sir.
it, isn't it? You as an expert, you have opened the eyes of people in my company. So far, my people were they never thought about the chamber temperature. They just run the machine and then produce the component, and then receive a lot of complaints about the hotness. And now you have told me, sir, chamber temperature is critical factor. You are ignoring it. Now I studied the criticality, and my experiment also confirmed. Right? Now the opinion what you gave is a new learning to my company. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Opinion what
Yes.
you gave. Because so far my company do not know that chamber temperature is critical to the process. They were ignorant. Right? So saying that, so believing that chamber temperature believing that chamber temperature cannot significantly impact the hotness is a statement of innocence. Can I say like that? Is a statement of innocence, isn't it? My company last 5 years, last 10 years, they never worried about the chamber temperature. That belief is an innocence. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Now you came, a consultant came, or a project team did some extensive study. Now they opened the eyes of people in my company. And now people in my company, they started realizing chamber temperature could be critical to the hotness. Chamber temperature is critical to the hotness. This statement, is a statement opposite to innocence. Can I say like that? A statement opposite to innocence. The innocent statement should be called as null hypothesis. Innocent statement should be called as null hypothesis. And the opposite statement. What is the opposite statement? The factor is critical. The factor has a significant impact. The factor has no significant impact. When I say a factor has no significant impact, my statement is innocence.
Null.
Yes.
I mean null. My statement is statement of innocence, and the other name for statement of innocence is null hypothesis. I am simply ignorant. That is why it is called null hypothesis. But I have another contradictory statement. I mean, the opposite statement, where I will say that the factor is critical. When I say the factor is critical, now my statement is alternate, right? So now we are slowly entering into that a topic called hypothesis testing. I'm trying to take you inside hypothesis testing. In hypothesis testing starts with framing the null hypothesis. Hypothesis testing starts with framing the null hypothesis. What is null hypothesis? Your current belief is the null hypothesis. Am I correct?
Yes.
Current
Yes, sir.
belief. What your company is currently believing, all your ignorances, you frame a statement to convey the ignorance, to convey the innocence. Then the statement is null. So the chamber temperature cannot affect the hardness of the material. Tell me, what is this statement? The chamber temperature cannot affect the hardness of the material. What is this statement I am making?
Innocence. Null hypothesis.
Null,
Null hypothesis.
right? So my company is simply believing this statement last 5-10 years. That is why they did not have habit of monitoring the chamber temperature. They never record chamber temperature. They just switch on the machine and then produce the component on the other side. But there are a lot of problems they are facing. But after this experiment, they realized the chamber temperature should be under monitor, and so they ensured the chamber temperature is always optimum, so that the hardness can also be optimum. So with that note, I'm going to take you through the basics of hypothesis testing, right? So let me get my slide so that we can get into the presentation mode. Any questions to me so far? Anybody would like to ask?